I carelessly spoke a forbidden compliment, unaware the sovereign stood just behind me. Alex Carter walked through the wide corridors of the space station, his boots making soft thuds on the polished metal floor. The station was quiet at this hour. Most of the crew and visitors were busy in their quarters or in meetings. The air smelled faintly of ozone and recycled water, a smell that always reminded Alex of home, even though Earth now felt like a distant memory. He had spent months on this station as a human cultural liaison, helping humans and aliens understand each other better. Some days it was exciting, some days it was boring, and some days it was dangerous. Today, Alex hoped it would be exciting. He adjusted the strap of his bag over his shoulder and glanced at the list of appointments he had for the day. Most were routine. Meetings with alien officials, discussions about trade and culture, a tour of the station for a group of young cadets from different species. But one appointment was unusual. Today he would meet someone from the inner court of the Empire, a place humans rarely saw. His heart beat a little faster at the thought. "Alex, wait up," a voice called behind him. It was Ben Miller, his friend and fellow human officer. Ben jogged to catch up, carrying a small device in his hand. "Did you see the new library section they opened in Sector 7? You're going to love it." Alex smiled, glad for the distraction. "I'll check it later. Right now, we need to get ready for the court visit." "I heard they have unusual rules there." Ben laughed, shaking his head. "Unusual is one word, terrifying is another. Just remember, don't say anything that could upset them. They take words seriously there." Alex nodded, but inside he felt a spark of curiosity. Humans had a habit of speaking honestly, of saying what they felt, even if it sometimes caused trouble. He knew the rules here were different. Alien societies often had strict traditions, and words could carry meanings humans didn't understand. Still, Alex felt a strange excitement in seeing this world up close. They arrived at the court chamber, a vast room filled with soft, glowing lights and tall, elegant pillars that seemed to stretch endlessly upward. The walls were smooth and pale, with flowing patterns that shimmered faintly as if alive. Alien courtiers moved gracefully around the room, their long limbs and colorful attire making them seem almost like living statues. Alex felt a little out of place in his simple human uniform. A short, glowing drone hovered by his shoulder, whispering instructions in a quiet, mechanical voice. "Remain respectful. Observe protocol. Do not speak unless spoken to." Alex took a deep breath and nodded. "I'll try," he muttered, half to himself. Ben gave him a quick grin. "Try being your usual reckless self, you mean." As they walked further into the chamber, Alex noticed a group of alien nobles gathered near a balcony. Their movements were slow, deliberate, and elegant. Alex couldn't help but admire the way they held themselves, the dignity in their posture, and the way their voices carried in soft, musical tones. He whispered to Ben, "They move like dancers, it's beautiful." Ben raised an eyebrow. "Careful. That could be seen as praising too much. You don't want to get anyone's attention for the wrong reason." Alex smiled. "I'll be careful," he said, though inside he felt a thrill at the thought of speaking freely. They approached a smaller group at the center of the chamber. One figure stood out from the rest, taller and more commanding than anyone else. Her presence seemed to fill the room without a single sound. This was Empress Lyra, the sovereign of the Empire. She was known for her strict rules and sharp mind, and most humans only knew of her through stories. Her eyes, a deep violet, seemed to look straight through people, reading their thoughts before they spoke. Alex felt a moment of hesitation, then a strange impulse took over. He had seen her observe the other nobles with a careful, patient gaze, and he found himself genuinely impressed by her poise and control. Without thinking much, he said quietly, almost to himself, "She carries herself with such strength, like she was born to lead." Ben froze beside him. "Alex," he whispered sharply, his eyes wide with alarm. "You shouldn't," but it was too late. The words had floated in the air. A hush fell over the room. Every alien around them seemed to stop moving, as if sensing the shift in energy. Then from the shadows behind him came a soft but firm voice. "Those are dangerous words, human." Alex turned sharply. His heart leaped into his throat. There, standing just behind him, was Empress Lyra herself. She had been closer than he realized, and he had spoken the forbidden compliment right in front of her. For a moment, Alex could not speak. His mouth felt dry and his mind raced for something, anything, that could explain his words. I didn't mean," he stammered. "In human culture, it's common to admire strength and grace. I meant no disrespect." The Empress's gaze never left him. Her eyes were intense, yet not angry. There was curiosity there, something that made Alex feel both terrified and strangely honored. "Curious," she said softly. "You speak freely in a place where words can be weapons, and yet your voice carries no threat." Alex swallowed. I only speak what I see and feel. That is how I show respect." The Empress's sharp gaze seemed to search him, looking for hidden meanings, for lies. But Alex felt no lies in his words. They were honest, even if careless. A group of alien nobles whispered among themselves. Some looked scandalized, some confused. Ben placed a hand on Alex's shoulder, steadying him. "Just stay calm," he murmured. The Empress finally moved closer, her long robes flowing like liquid. "You have spoken words that in my court could bring punishment or exile, yet you show no fear. Why?" Alex took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "Because fear should not guide respect. Respect comes from truth and understanding. If someone is strong, I honor that. I did not know it was forbidden. I only saw strength and said it aloud." For a long moment the chamber was silent except for the soft hum of the lights. Then, to Alex's surprise, the Empress smiled slightly. It was not a warm smile, but a recognition, a hint of acknowledgement that she had noticed his courage. "You are bold," she said finally. "Most who speak so carelessly would not survive long in my court. Yet you do not seem afraid. That is rare." Alex nodded, trying to hide his relief. "I do not mean to be disrespectful. I only mean what I say." The Empress studied him for a moment longer, then turned her attention to the other nobles. "Let this human be observed," she said. "He speaks with honesty. Perhaps there is something to learn from him." Alex felt a mix of confusion and relief. He had expected punishment, maybe even exile, but instead he was being observed, tested in some way he did not yet understand. Ben exhaled quietly beside him. "I can't believe it. You almost got yourself executed with one sentence, and now they're watching you." Alex shrugged, a little embarrassed. "I didn't mean it. I just spoke what I saw, that's all." The Empress turned back to him, her violet eyes sharp and unyielding. "You are different, human. I will see if your words are more than they seem." For the rest of the day, Alex moved through the court under careful observation. Every gesture, every word he spoke, was noted by the aliens around him. He met nobles from distant worlds, each with their own customs, and tried to remain polite and honest. Every compliment he gave, every expression of curiosity, felt weighted now, as if it carried consequences far beyond what he could imagine. By the time the day ended, Alex felt exhausted but strangely alive. The incident with the Empress had changed something. He had gone from a cautious human visitor to someone who had earned the attention of a sovereign, simply by speaking honestly. As he walked back to his quarters with Ben, he tried to make sense of it. "I thought I was going to get in trouble for sure," he said quietly. "I didn't think one careless sentence could mean so much." Ben shook his head. "Welcome to alien politics. One wrong word can ruin you." "But somehow you survived. More than survived, you impressed her." Alex smiled, though a little nervously. "I hope I didn't offend her too much." "Offend? You fascinated her. That's worse and better at the same time," Ben said with a grin. As the station lights reflected off the corridor walls, Alex couldn't help but feel that something had shifted. The world of the court was strange, powerful, and dangerous. Yet, somehow, in his careless words, he had found a way to leave a mark. He didn't yet understand what would come next, but he knew one thing clearly. From now on, nothing in this court would be the same for him. And perhaps in the quiet corners of his mind, he wondered if humans, with their fearless honesty, could change the way this alien empire thought about strength, respect, and courage. The next morning, Alex woke with a mix of excitement and nervousness. The memory of speaking the forbidden words to Empress Lyra was still fresh in his mind. He wondered if the entire court had been laughing behind his back, or if some were plotting how to punish him later. But a stronger feeling than fear ran through him: curiosity. What did the Empress really think? Why had she not punished him? Ben arrived at Alex's quarters early, as usual, carrying his small bag and a steaming cup of nutrient tea. "You look like you didn't sleep," Ben said, raising an eyebrow. "Probably thinking about yesterday, huh?" Alex sighed. "I can't stop thinking about it. Did I really impress her, or did I just look foolish?" Ben handed him the tea. "Trust me, you didn't look foolish. Well, not completely. You looked like a human who doesn't understand court rules. That's half our charm. The other half is surviving by accident." Alex smiled faintly, though he felt a knot of anxiety in his stomach. "I just hope she isn't planning anything terrible for me. I mean, one careless word shouldn't change everything, should it?" Ben shrugged. "In human life, maybe. In alien life, who knows? You're going to find out soon." By mid-morning, Alex was summoned to the court again. This time, it was not a casual visit. He was escorted through long hallways and glowing corridors to a private audience chamber. The room was smaller than the main court, but just as elegant. A soft light glimmered from the walls, and the floor reflected everything above like polished glass. The air smelled faintly sweet, a perfume Alex could not identify. Empress Lyra stood waiting. Her robes flowed around her like liquid silk, and her eyes, deep violet and sharp, were fixed on Alex as he entered. He bowed slightly, trying to keep calm, though his hands trembled a little. "Alex Carter," she said in a voice soft yet commanding. "You have been observed since yesterday. You have spoken freely among my nobles and made your thoughts known. Few dare to speak in such a way in my court. Few have survived." Alex nodded, unsure what to say. I only speak honestly. I didn't know my words could be dangerous." The Empress's gaze softened just a fraction. "Honesty is rare. Honesty without fear is rarer still. Your people, humans, have a way of speaking that is both foolish and powerful." Alex blinked. "Foolish and powerful." She stepped closer, her robes barely making a sound. "Yes. Foolish because your words can offend or challenge without thought. Powerful because you speak truth that even my advisors hesitate to voice." Alex felt a strange mix of pride and worry. "I only mean what I see. I didn't intend to challenge anyone." Lyra's eyes narrowed slightly. "Intentions are not always clear. Your people act without thinking sometimes, yet they carry a strength we do not fully understand." Alex glanced around the room. It was quiet except for the soft hum of the lights. He had never seen anyone look so closely at him before. He felt as if she could see his thoughts, his fears, and even the small, secret hopes he kept hidden. "You will remain under observation," she continued. "Not as a prisoner, but as a subject of study. I wish to understand your people and your ways. You will be tested." Alex swallowed hard. "Tested? What kind of test?" The Empress gave a faint smile, one that did not reach her eyes. "Tests of honesty, of courage, and of understanding. You will face situations designed to reveal your character, and you must respond as you always have, truthfully and without fear." Ben, who had been standing quietly nearby, gave Alex a small, worried look. "Did she just say you're going to be tested? Like for real?" "Not just some polite observation," Alex nodded slowly. "It seems so. I guess we'll find out soon." The first test came sooner than Alex expected. Later that day, he was led to a small training area. It was a high-ceilinged room, filled with soft mats, floating lights, and various alien instruments he could not identify. A group of alien officers and nobles watched from the sidelines. Alex felt their eyes on him, sharp and calculating. A soldier stepped forward. She was tall, with skin that shimmered in shades of gold and green. "You are to demonstrate your ability to act without deception," she said. "A human is considered brave if he can speak truth while under pressure." Alex nodded, trying to remember everything he had learned about alien customs. He was not used to this type of direct scrutiny. The soldier placed a small device on the floor. A holographic figure appeared, a simulated alien attacking him with glowing energy. Alex had no weapons. He looked at the figure and without thinking said, "I will not fight you with lies or tricks. I will face you as I am." The hologram paused. The observers murmured. Alex felt a small thrill. He realized he was doing exactly what the Empress had asked, responding honestly, without fear, even when he did not know the rules or what would happen next. For hours, Alex faced challenges that tested his mind and his courage. Some required quick thinking. Some required admitting mistakes. Some forced him to confront illusions designed to scare him. Each time he spoke plainly, answered honestly, and refused to hide behind excuses. At one point, he was brought before a council of nobles who demanded he explain why humans valued freedom of speech above all else. Alex stood before them, heart pounding, and said, "Because humans believe that truth is stronger than fear. If we cannot speak freely, we cannot learn or grow. Words have power, but honesty gives them meaning." The council whispered among themselves. The Empress watched silently. Alex realized that every word he spoke was being weighed, every gesture noted. Yet despite the tension, he felt strangely calm. This was his way of being, honest, open, fearless, and now it mattered more than ever. By the end of the day, Alex was exhausted. His mind ached from constant observation, and his body was sore from the physical challenges. Yet a quiet satisfaction filled him. He had survived the tests without deception, without fear, and without lowering his voice. As he was escorted back to his quarters, Ben leaned in. "You look like you just ran a marathon and faced a storm at the same time." Alex laughed softly, though he felt drained. "It was intense, but I think I'm starting to understand why she wants to observe humans. We do things differently." Ben shook his head. "Differently is one word, dangerous is another. You're walking a fine line, Alex. One wrong move, one careless word, and it could all end badly." Alex looked out the window of his quarters, where the stars of distant galaxies twinkled against the black of space. Maybe, but if honesty is dangerous here, then maybe it's also the strongest thing I have. The next morning brought a new challenge. Alex was summoned again, this time to participate in a diplomatic discussion between humans and alien leaders. He was nervous, knowing that one wrong phrase could offend powerful beings. Yet he remembered the Empress's words, honesty without fear was a strength. He entered the chamber and bowed slightly. The room was filled with alien leaders, each from a different world. They watched him carefully, their eyes sharp and expectant. The discussion began, and Alex spoke clearly and simply. When asked about human intentions, he answered truthfully. When asked about human weaknesses, he did not hide them. He admitted mistakes openly and praised alien strengths honestly. The room fell silent at times, impressed by his candor. At one point, a noble spoke harshly, questioning human ability to lead or make decisions without chaos. Alex met the gaze steadily. "Humans are not perfect," he said. "We make mistakes, but we also learn from them. We grow because we face truth, not because we hide from it. That is how we survive and thrive." The Empress watched quietly from the sidelines. Alex felt a thrill of understanding. She was not testing his skill or intelligence. She was testing his heart, his honesty, and his courage. And somehow, despite being a human in a room full of powerful aliens, he was holding his own. By evening, the discussions ended. Alex returned to his quarters, tired but exhilarated. He had faced scrutiny, fear, and judgment, yet he had remained himself. For the first time, he felt that his human way of being, simple, honest, fearless, was not a weakness in this alien world. It was a strength. Ben met him at the door. "So, how's it feel to be the human everyone's watching?" Alex smiled, a little weary but confident. "Strange, but good. I think I'm learning something important. Maybe humans are stronger than they realize. And maybe, just maybe, honesty can change the way they see us." As the stars glimmered outside his window, Alex felt hope. He did not yet know what the Empress had planned next, but he understood one thing clearly. The forbidden compliment yesterday had started something. It had opened a door. And through that door, he would continue to prove that humanity, with its courage and honesty, could survive, and even thrive, in the strangest and most powerful worlds. The next morning, Alex woke to a quiet hum of the station. His body ached from the previous day's tests and discussions, but his mind was alert. He knew the Empress was watching him closely. Every word he spoke, every action he took, could change the way she saw him. Yet, instead of fear, Alex felt a quiet determination. He wanted to understand this alien world and show that humans could be honest, strong, and brave, even among beings who lived by strict rules and traditions. Ben arrived at his quarters as usual, carrying a small tray with nutrient tea and a simple breakfast. "You look like you barely slept," Ben said, raising an eyebrow. "Or maybe your dreams were full of aliens judging you." Alex chuckled lightly. "A little of both. I keep thinking about how the Empress watches us. Not just me, humans, but all of us. I feel like every move matters here." Ben shook his head. "Welcome to life in the Imperial Court. One wrong step, one careless word, and you could be in trouble, but somehow you've survived every test so far." Alex took a deep breath. "It's not about surviving. I think it's about showing who we really are. Humans speak the truth. We face things openly. That might seem foolish to them, but maybe it's also our strength." Ben smiled. "You make it sound noble. I'd say it sounds reckless, but if anyone can survive it, it's you." By mid-morning, Alex was summoned to the court again. Today, the Empress had planned a more personal test. He was escorted through long corridors lined with glowing panels, their light reflecting in the polished floor. The air smelled faintly sweet and warm, a perfume unique to the inner chambers of the Empire. He entered a smaller room where the Empress awaited him. The room was quiet, almost too quiet, with soft light flowing from the walls. The Empress stood in the center, her robes flowing like liquid silk. Her violet eyes studied him carefully, as if she could see every thought he held. "Alex Carter," she said softly, her voice calm but commanding. "You have been observed carefully since your first words yesterday. I wish to understand the human way. To do that, you must face challenges that test your mind, your courage, and your honesty. Are you prepared?" Alex swallowed, but he nodded firmly. "I am ready, Your Majesty." She inclined her head slightly. "Very well. Today you will meet situations designed to reveal the heart of a human. Not your skill, not your knowledge, but your choices, your intentions, and your honesty." Alex followed her to a part of the station he had never seen. It was a large chamber filled with shifting lights and holographic shapes. The walls seemed alive, moving softly as if breathing. Other humans and aliens were already there, standing quietly in observation. Alex realized that today's challenge would involve interaction, not just observation. The first test came in the form of a simulation. A holographic figure appeared in the center of the room, designed to look like an alien officer in distress. The simulation spoke, "You may act to help me or you may leave. Choose carefully. Your choice will show your character." Alex felt his heart race. He could easily step aside and let the simulation fail, but he remembered the Empress's words. Honesty and courage mattered. "I will help," he said firmly. "I cannot turn away." The simulation advanced, testing his skill and decision-making. Alex moved carefully, speaking calmly and clearly, giving instructions to the simulated officer. He guided it through obstacles, avoided dangers, and found solutions without lying or taking shortcuts. The observers murmured softly. Alex could feel their attention on him, yet he remained focused on the task. When the simulation ended successfully, the Empress's voice echoed in the room. You acted without deceit. You spoke and acted with clarity and courage. Few humans would do the same in this situation. Alex felt a small surge of pride, though he stayed quiet. I only acted as I would have done naturally, he said quietly. Next, he was led to a council of alien nobles. Each noble asked him questions, some simple, some difficult. They wanted to know why humans valued honesty, why humans made decisions openly, and how humans could face danger without fear. Alex answered plainly, without exaggeration. Humans speak the truth because it is stronger than fear. We make mistakes, but we learn from them. We do not hide behind lies or tricks because doing so weakens us. Honesty gives strength. Some nobles whispered among themselves. Alex noticed that a few seemed skeptical, while others watched him with curiosity. The Empress remained silent, her eyes fixed on him, observing every reaction. At one point, a noble asked him, "If your people are so honest, how do you survive in a world that is not always fair?" Alex thought for a moment, then said, "We survive because we trust each other. We face challenges together. Honesty builds trust, and trust builds strength. Without trust, we cannot endure hardship. Even in a harsh world, humans find ways to survive because we face the truth." The council fell silent. Alex realized his words had weight. He had not intended to impress anyone, yet the truth seemed to have power in a world where deceit and caution were common. Later, the Empress took him aside. "You have spoken freely and faced challenges without fear, but words alone do not show the heart. I will give you a final test." Alex felt a mix of curiosity and tension. "What is the test, Your Majesty?" She gestured toward a small platform in the center of the room. On it was a complex device that glowed faintly. "This is a moral test," she said. "You may achieve success for yourself or help another. Your choice will reveal what humans value most." Alex studied the device. It was intricate, with moving parts and glowing panels. He could sense that solving it would give him some reward or recognition. Yet he noticed a small holographic figure struggling nearby, a simulation of another being in need. Alex's mind raced. If he focused on the device, he would succeed quickly. If he helped the figure, it might slow him down or even make him fail. Yet he remembered the Empress's observation. Humans face the truth and act with honesty. He made his choice. "I will help," he said aloud, moving to assist the figure. Hours passed as he worked, guiding the holographic figure through challenges, speaking clearly and calmly, never lying or hiding mistakes. The observers watched silently, noting every word and action. Alex felt the tension in the room, yet he stayed focused on the task at hand. Finally, the figure reached safety, and the device on the platform recognized his actions. A soft light glowed, and the Empress spoke. "You have chosen to help another rather than seek personal gain. That is a rare quality. You have acted without deceit, without fear, and with understanding. You have shown the heart of a human." Alex felt a quiet relief and pride. He had faced tests, scrutiny, and challenges, yet he remained true to himself. The Empress's eyes met his, and for a moment the sharpness softened into recognition. "You are different," she said. "Your people, humans, act without fear of consequences. You speak honestly even when it is dangerous. That is a strength I have not seen in centuries." Alex nodded, feeling a strange warmth at her words. "I do not seek praise. I only speak truth and act as I believe is right." The Empress gave a small, approving nod. "Then continue. Observe and act as you have done. I will see how far your people can go when guided by honesty rather than fear." By evening, Alex was exhausted. His body ached, his mind was tired, but he felt a sense of accomplishment he had never felt before. He had faced tests of courage, honesty, and understanding, and he had remained true to himself. Ben met him outside his quarters. "You look like you've been through a war," he said, smiling faintly. "But I can tell you survived with style." Alex laughed quietly. It wasn't style. It was just honesty, speaking the truth even when it is dangerous. That's all humans know. Ben nodded slowly. "Maybe that's why she's so interested in you. Not because you're smart or strong or brave in the usual sense, but because you're honest. That's rare here." Alex looked out the window at the stars twinkling in the distance. He realized that this was only the beginning. The Empress had tested him, observed him, and challenged him, but the journey was far from over. There were more lessons to learn, more challenges to face, and more opportunities to show what humans could do. Yet, despite the fear, despite the pressure, Alex felt a quiet confidence. He was a human in a world of strict rules, traditions, and power. He had no special weapons or magical abilities. He had only honesty, courage, and the willingness to act as he believed was right. And he now understood something powerful. Sometimes, those simple qualities could be stronger than any weapon, more valuable than any secret, and more respected than any title. As he prepared for the next day, Alex knew one thing for certain. He would face whatever came next with the same courage, the same honesty, and the same belief that being true to oneself could change everything, even in the heart of an alien empire. The morning light streamed softly through the tall windows of the Imperial Palace. Alex Carter stood near one of the long corridors, stretching his legs after the previous day's exhausting tests. He felt both tired and strangely alert. Every day with the Empress was a mixture of challenge and discovery, and he knew today would be no different. Ben Miller appeared at his side, carrying a small satchel of supplies. "You look ready for another round of judgment," Ben said with a half-smile. "Or at least for another day of being stared at." Alex laughed softly. "Judgment, observation, or challenge, whatever it is, I need to face it honestly. That's all I know to do." Ben shook his head. "Honestly, you really think that's going to work here?" Alex shrugged. "It's all I have, and so far it seems to matter more than I realized." The two humans walked through the polished halls, their boots echoing faintly against the smooth floor. They were led to a chamber they had not seen before. The walls glimmered faintly in flowing patterns, and the air felt warmer here, almost alive with quiet energy. The Empress was waiting for Alex. She stood in the center of the room, her robes falling like liquid light. Her violet eyes studied him carefully, yet there was a calmness today, a hint of expectation rather than judgment. "Alex Carter," she said softly, her voice clear in the quiet chamber. "You have faced tests of honesty and courage. You have chosen truth over fear, even when challenges were designed to make you doubt yourself. Today, I will show you a different side of this world, a side that requires not only honesty but wisdom, understanding, and trust." Alex nodded slowly. "I am ready, Your Majesty." She gestured toward a large platform at the center of the chamber. On it lay a map-like projection of the Empire. Tiny lights glowed across various planets and systems, and small icons moved across the map as if alive. "This is the Empire," she said. "Every planet, every leader, every system has its place, but peace is not guaranteed. Power struggles, disputes, and threats exist constantly. Humans speak of courage and honesty as if they are simple virtues. Here, they are tested by actions, not words." Alex studied the map carefully. He could see how vast the Empire was, and he realized the weight of responsibility the Empress carried. "It looks complicated. So many systems, so many lives." The Empress nodded. "And yet all of it must be protected. I must make choices that affect millions. You, human, have spoken freely and acted honestly. That is why I bring you here. You will witness and participate in decisions that shape this world. You will see if honesty and courage are enough to influence outcomes in a place ruled by strategy, tradition, and power." Alex felt his heart beat faster. This was beyond tests and observations. This was real. Decisions here affected countless lives, and he would be involved. The first situation came quickly. A dispute had arisen between two planetary leaders over trade routes. Both demanded priority and neither would compromise. The Empress gestured toward the holographic projections of the planets and leaders. You will speak with them, Alex. Observe. Offer solutions if you can. Speak honestly and without fear. Alex stepped forward, trying to steady himself. He had experience negotiating with humans, but this was different. These beings had customs he did not fully understand, and the consequences of failure were unknown. He approached the first leader, a tall being with shimmering blue skin and eyes like liquid silver. The leader's voice was firm, almost sharp. Why should I share my trade routes? Humans are naive. Do you truly understand our ways? Alex bowed slightly. I do not claim to fully understand, but I do know that conflict hurts both sides. There must be a way to find common ground. I speak honestly, hoping that honesty may lead to understanding. The leader studied him carefully. Alex felt the weight of his gaze, but he kept speaking. If you cooperate, both sides can prosper. If not, neither side gains. Humans often face difficult choices, but we try to act with fairness and truth. Perhaps that can guide this situation. The leader's sharp expression softened slightly. He whispered to his aides and then looked back at Alex. Perhaps your words carry meaning. Speak with the other leader. Alex nodded and moved to the second leader, a smaller, green-skinned being with luminous eyes. I have listened to the first, Alex said, and I hope we can find a solution that allows both of you to benefit. I speak honestly, as humans do. Conflict harms all. Cooperation strengthens all. The second leader's eyes narrowed, then relaxed. Humans are unusual, she said softly. You speak without fear, yet without arrogance. You observe, you do not demand. Perhaps there is merit in your approach. Alex suggested compromises and ideas based on fairness and honesty. He did not try to manipulate or impress. He did not try to exploit weaknesses. Instead, he spoke plainly, pointing out common interests, shared resources, and mutual benefits. The Empress observed silently, her violet eyes fixed on him. By the end of the discussion, both leaders had agreed to a compromise. Alex felt a quiet satisfaction. He had not forced an outcome, nor had he used trickery. He had only spoken honestly and shown courage to suggest solutions. Yet the result was better than he had expected. The Empress's voice broke the silence. You see, Alex Carter, honesty alone is not enough. It must be paired with wisdom, understanding, and courage to act. You have begun to see the complexity of leadership and the value of truth in guiding decisions. Alex nodded. I understand, Your Majesty. I did my best to speak clearly and fairly, even when the stakes were high. I hope it was helpful. The Empress inclined her head. It was, but there is more to learn. Leadership requires not only speaking the truth but understanding the consequences of every action. Today, you will face a test that will challenge your perception of right and wrong. She gestured toward a large screen that displayed news of a border conflict. One planet had rebelled, and its people faced harsh conditions. Military forces were ready to intervene, but intervention would lead to bloodshed. Alex realized the weight of what he was being asked to consider. You will advise me, human, she said. You will speak honestly, but also consider the outcomes. How would your people act? What would humans value in such a situation? Alex felt the tension in the room. He thought of Earth's history, wars, rebellions, and diplomacy. He knew humans valued life, fairness, and truth, but often acted imperfectly. Still, he needed to give his honest perspective. Humans would try to understand why the rebellion occurred, he said. We would seek dialogue, even when the situation seems impossible. If we cannot reach peace, we act to protect lives first, not just territory. Truth, fairness, and compassion guide us, even when danger is present. The Empress studied him quietly. And if your advice fails, If your people's approach leads to disaster, Alex paused. Then we learn from the mistake. Humans do not hide from failure. We face it, adapt, and try again. Honesty about what went wrong is as important as action itself. The Empress's eyes softened slightly, and she nodded. You speak as humans do, with courage and clarity. Yet the situation here may demand more than honesty. You will see as we proceed that leadership carries burdens humans do not always face. The day continued with more scenarios. Each required Alex to think, speak, and act carefully. Sometimes the choices were simple, sometimes complex. Each time he relied on honesty, courage, and his belief in fairness. The Empress observed silently, her expression unreadable, yet her attention never wavered. At one point, he was brought to a chamber where he met ordinary citizens of the Empire, beings from different planets, some fearful, some angry, some hopeful. Alex listened to their complaints, their hopes, and their fears. He spoke plainly, offering understanding and empathy. He did not promise solutions he could not guarantee. He did not manipulate emotions for favor. He spoke honestly, even when the truth was uncomfortable. The citizens left with relief and respect. Some glanced at him with awe, noticing a human who faced them with courage and honesty, even when they had every reason to distrust him. Alex felt a quiet sense of purpose. For the first time, he realized that honesty and courage were not just personal virtues. They could influence an entire society, even in a world very different from Earth. By evening, Alex returned to the Empress. He was exhausted, both physically and mentally. His mind had been pushed to its limits, yet there was satisfaction in his heart, a quiet confidence that he was learning more about leadership, trust, and the power of truth than he had ever imagined. You have learned much today, Alex Carter, the Empress said softly. You have seen the burdens of leadership. You have faced difficult choices and acted with honesty. You have begun to understand that courage is not only in facing danger, but in facing responsibility, understanding consequences, and speaking truthfully even when it is hard. Alex nodded, humbled. I understand, Your Majesty. I still have much to learn, but I will do my best. The Empress gave a faint smile. You have begun well. The final lesson will come soon, but for now, rest. Observe, reflect, and prepare. The path of honesty and courage is never simple, yet it is the strongest path for those who choose it. Alex left the chamber, exhausted but inspired. He knew the final lessons would be the hardest yet. But he also knew that his human ways, honesty, courage, and openness, had begun to make a difference. In a world so different, so powerful, and so complex, he was learning that humans could survive and even thrive by being true to themselves. The sun's soft light filled the palace corridors as Alex Carter made his way toward the Empress's private chamber. Today felt different. He could sense a quiet tension in the air, a feeling that something important was about to happen. He had faced tests of honesty, courage, and understanding, and had survived scrutiny, simulations, and real-life challenges. Yet he knew the final test awaited him, the one that would determine how the Empress truly viewed him, and perhaps the value of humans in her empire. Ben Miller appeared at his side, his expression half worried, half amused. Well, Alex, today's the big day. The one where they either crown you a hero or throw you out the airlock. Alex laughed softly, shaking his head. I don't expect rewards or titles. I only want to act honestly and see if that can make a difference. Ben raised an eyebrow. That's either very brave or very foolish. Maybe both. They walked together through the halls, their boots echoing softly. Servants and nobles moved quietly around them, bowing politely as they passed. Alex felt the weight of the empire around him, the countless lives, the strict rules, the powerful leaders, and the Empress herself. Every moment seemed charged with importance. Finally, they arrived at the chamber. The doors opened, revealing Empress Lyra standing at the center, her robes flowing like liquid light. Her violet eyes met Alex's, calm and sharp as ever, yet there was something different in her expression today, a hint of expectation, perhaps even trust. "Alex Carter," she said softly, "you have been observed, tested, and challenged. You have faced simulations, difficult choices, and the scrutiny of my court. You have acted honestly, courageously, and with understanding. Today you will face your final challenge, one that will determine how humans are seen in this empire." Alex felt his heart beat faster. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will do my best." The Empress gestured toward a large holographic table. The map of the empire shimmered, showing planets, systems, and points of conflict. Several glowing icons pulsed, indicating regions of unrest. Alex could see disputes between leaders, protests from citizens, and threats from external forces. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of the projection. "This is your final test," the Empress said. "You will advise me on how to handle these crises. Your guidance must be honest, thoughtful, and courageous. Lives depend on your words, human. Choose carefully yet speak truthfully." Alex studied the map carefully. He realized the weight of the moment. Every decision, every suggestion could affect millions. He remembered the lessons of the previous days. Honesty alone was not enough. Courage, understanding, and responsibility were equally important. He began with the first conflict, a dispute between two planetary leaders over water rights. Both were stubborn, and neither would compromise. Alex listened carefully to each side. He spoke plainly. "I understand why both of you feel this way. Humans believe that sharing resources is essential for survival. Conflict harms everyone. If you cooperate, both of you benefit and your people will prosper. If not, both will suffer." The leaders looked at each other, then back at Alex. His words were simple, but they carried honesty and clarity. Slowly, they nodded, agreeing to a compromise. Alex felt a small relief, but he knew there was more to come. The next challenge was harder. A rebellion had started on a distant planet, and the military forces wanted to act immediately. Alex studied the situation carefully. He knew that intervention could lead to bloodshed, yet inaction might allow suffering to continue. He took a deep breath. "Humans value life," he said. "We act to protect people first, even if it is difficult. We try to understand why conflict occurs before we respond with force. If intervention is necessary, it should be targeted and careful to minimize harm while restoring peace." The Empress's violet eyes studied him closely. "You speak with compassion and wisdom, yet the consequences may be harsh. Do you accept responsibility for these choices?" Alex nodded firmly. "I do. If my words guide actions, I accept the outcomes, good or bad. But I will always choose honesty and fairness." The Empress remained silent for a long moment. Then she gestured to the next scenario, a diplomatic dispute between three planetary leaders over trade and territorial claims. Each leader had their own demands, and each expected the human visitor to favor their side. Alex studied them carefully. He realized that honesty alone could not resolve this. He needed to understand motivations, listen carefully, and find common ground. "I cannot favor one side over the others," he said. "Humans act fairly and openly. I suggest solutions that benefit all, based on truth and mutual respect. Deception only leads to conflict, and fear only leads to mistakes." The leaders exchanged cautious glances. Slowly, they began to negotiate, guided by Alex's straightforward advice. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of conversation. The Empress watched intently, her expression unreadable, but Alex felt a spark of hope. After hours of discussions and decisions, the final challenge approached, a scenario involving both military action and civilian safety. A powerful neighboring empire threatened a system of planets, and the Empress needed guidance on how to respond. Alex studied the map, noting the potential consequences of each choice. He thought of humans facing danger on Earth, of wars fought with mistakes and lessons learned, of people striving for peace even when it seemed impossible. He spoke with careful honesty. Your Majesty, humans believe in action guided by truth and fairness. Attack only if necessary and only with precision. Protect civilians wherever possible. Seek alliances and understanding before using force. The strong survive, but the wise protect life. The Empress's gaze softened slightly. You speak not only with courage but with insight. Few beings in this empire can see the balance of strength and compassion as clearly as you do. Alex felt a quiet pride, though he stayed humble. I only speak what humans believe is right. I hope it is helpful. The Empress walked closer, her robes flowing like liquid. You have learned, observed, and acted wisely. You have faced challenges that test courage, honesty, and understanding. You have shown that humans, despite being young in this galaxy, possess strength in truth, fairness, and compassion. That is a rare and valuable quality. Alex felt a mixture of relief and awe. He had survived the tests, advised on crises, and acted honestly under immense pressure. Yet the Empress's next words surprised him. "Alex Carter," she said, her voice calm but firm, "your actions have proven something important. Your people, humans, have a way of facing challenges that is unique. You have shown that honesty, courage, and understanding can influence outcomes, even in a world ruled by power, strategy, and fear. For this, I grant you and your people a place of trust in this empire." Alex blinked, hardly believing his ears. "A place of trust for humans," the Empress nodded. "Yes, you have shown that your people can act without deceit, can face danger with courage, and can speak truthfully even when consequences are severe. That is why I declare humans worthy of respect, observation, and alliance. Your words and actions have changed how this empire views your species." Ben let out a quiet whistle beside Alex. "I knew it. You actually did it. You didn't just survive, you earned respect." Alex remained humble. "I didn't do it alone. I only acted as I believed was right. That's all humans can do." The Empress inclined her head slightly. "And that is enough. You have taught my court a lesson in honesty and courage. You have shown that even a single human, acting with truth and integrity, can influence outcomes that many thought impossible. That is the strength of your people." For the rest of the day, Alex was celebrated quietly within the court. Not with loud ceremonies, but with acknowledgement, respect, and curiosity. Nobles approached him to ask questions, leaders sought advice, and even citizens offered quiet thanks. Alex realized that his human way, simple, honest, and courageous, had made a real difference. By evening, he returned to his quarters, exhausted but filled with a quiet sense of purpose. Ben was waiting, grinning. "So, hero of the Empire, how does it feel?" Alex smiled softly. "I feel honored. Not because of titles or praise, but because honesty, courage, and understanding can truly matter, even here in a world so different from Earth." Ben nodded slowly. "You've changed things, Alex. Maybe not the whole empire, but enough to show that humans can make a difference." Alex looked out the window at the stars, distant planets, and glowing systems. He realized that this was only the beginning. The empire was vast, the challenges endless, and the responsibilities immense. Yet he understood something powerful. Humans did not need weapons or tricks to survive. Their honesty, courage, and willingness to act with truth could shape worlds and change the way others saw them. As night fell over the palace, Alex Carter felt a quiet pride and hope. He had spoken a forbidden compliment once, unaware of its impact. That careless act had led him here, through tests, scrutiny, and challenges. And now humans were seen as worthy allies, respected for their honesty and courage. The Empress had tested him, observed him, and guided him through trials. Yet in the end, it was Alex's simple human way, truthful, brave, and open, that had left the greatest mark. He realized that sometimes, even in a galaxy of power, complexity, and danger, the simplest qualities, honesty, courage, and integrity, could be the strongest force of all. Alex Carter knew that the journey was not over. Challenges would come, decisions would be hard, and dangers would exist. But he also knew that humans had a place in this empire, and that their way, fearless, honest, and true, could shape the future. He looked toward the stars again, thinking of Earth, of humanity, and of the future ahead. And for the first time in a long while, he felt that anything was possible. That one human, speaking honestly and acting courageously, could change the way an empire thought, and perhaps even change the galaxy itself.